ROMELU LUKAKU to Chelsea Football Club is closing in for a total agreement and a completed deal. Maybe 36 hours ago, most people would have called you crazy to suggest that this deal could be done. He was deemed as untouchable, unbuyable, too happy to leave Inter Milan, and my how the tables have turned in the past 24 hours. Chelsea have submitted one official bid after making two offers via intermediaries throughout the course of the summer transfer window. They had their first official bid, which was very close to the mark, turned down. It is now expected within the coming hours a second official bid to be made that will meet the requirements for Inter Milan, and the deal will be done. That only then leaves ROMELU Lukaku to agree to personal terms. The bid coming in, as per many multiple sources, the highly credible Tomasio has put this out there. And then if that is accepted, as per Dean Jones this morning on the Football Terrace, if Inter accept the offer, it is highly likely that Lukaku leaves and becomes a Chelsea player once again. The feeling and the sense out there is this can be completed. Fabrizio Romano has changed his stance from yesterday, and absolutely was going to change his stance. He was told by Inter Milan that he was untouchable, that the deal wouldn't happen. That has changed since Chelsea have put the money forward officially. Chelsea have done all the hard work behind the scenes. Chelsea have ensured that they've worked every angle possible to try and bring in their number one target, Haaland. That wasn't doable, but they kept brilliantly, I will add, kept the plate spinning for Lukaku on the other hand. As soon as they decided that enough was enough, they'd made enough informal offers, they'd made enough and done enough work to try and land Haaland, and that deal was done. As per The Athletic, they have walked away from that deal. They have ended the Haaland deal, according to The Athletic this evening, and they have gone full guns blazing, as per the likes of Dean Jones, Simon Johnson, and Matt Law told us yesterday across social media and the news networks. This deal is closing in. It feels very, very imminent indeed. And Chelsea fans, I want your views and I want your opinions on this superstar, this world-class striker that you're about to bring back to Chelsea Football Club. £100 million is the quoted amount. We're also going to touch on some other transfers as well, namely Lautaro Martinez. A lot of people suggesting this ends Arsenal's pursuit, but we will see. Hit that like button right now, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the Football Terrace if you haven't done so already. We're going to share the link for you to phone up the viewers to have your say. It's what we do on nearly every single show. We're the only YouTube channel to commit to that multiple times per day. You know what comes next? Here we go. Hello, welcome back to the Football Terrace, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope that you are well. I hope you're having very, very good evenings indeed. This deal is closing in very, very quickly. And you always know when a deal is nearing that moment. Not only, are we very, very privileged from this summer moving forward on the terrace to have connections to some of the best football journalists on the planet, some of the best football agents on the planet. The news is unified. The use across multiple publications, Twitter bots, aggregators, journalists are all very much together on this. The Haaland deal, according to The Athletic, has ended, and I think most people kind of predicted that with the ferocity and the speed of the turnaround with these official bids for Lukaku. Chelsea always wanted to begin the start of the new campaign with that striker option in place. As said many times on the Done Deal show here on the Football Terrace, he was always the backup. He was always a major option for the football club. It does appear at some point, and this is a guess here rather than knowledge, but I think that we'll probably find out in the next week or two or after Lukaku comes in that Chelsea did make a big bid, informally or not, for Haaland that may have been turned down by Dortmund, and Chelsea just decided that was the most opportune and most important moment to then move on to Lukaku and get the deal done and to get it over the line. And as we say, it's moving in now to be an imminent deal. We've got a poll out as well right now. I want to know what your thoughts and feelings are. How happy are you with the Lukaku signing? 37% is leading the vote, and they say they are buzzing. 24% say happy. 21% say they don't know. And just 18% say that they are annoyed. But we are going to share the link very, very soon for you to come on and have your say with us this evening. Bean Plays says they can call him Fabrizio Fleurs, social media transfer update legend. You deserve all the success, Terry. I'm excited for big things from the football terrace. Listen, I appreciate that. And look, this wasn't news we particularly broke and at all. And I'm not going to claim that. But it's the Dean Jones and the Pete O'Rourke's that have kept us updated all along the way when things have changed, when things have moved into a positive direction. And of course, you know, we update as and when we can. And we have a number of agents that we work with as well now at the Football Terrace. And that will all come to light who they are over the next few months. So massive thank you, Bean, for saying that. Edward here says, so those articles about Abramovich's son traveling to Italy to convince Lukaku to sign actually have legs. Potentially. Like, I didn't actually read those articles. Again, there's so much news out there. I don't consume it all. But Chelsea were always working on Lukaku. This has been going on for many, many months indeed. That they've been working to try and bring Lukaku back to Chelsea Football Club to get him involved. This isn't new. This isn't like out of nowhere. Just over a week ago on the Football Terrace, Dean Jones himself said this could be resolved in the next couple of weeks, talking about Lukaku. Because that was on that same very morning, there were reports saying Chelsea end their pursuit of Lukaku. So we asked that question to Dean, is this true? And he sort of said, not yet. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks. And in the past 3 or 4 days, it's accelerated massively in terms of Lukaku. So they very much could be true. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. A big super chat here says, Terry, I was a huge fan of Haaland coming to Chelsea, but I will back Lukaku 100%. Rival fans laughing at us for not getting Haaland, but we land Big Lou, who will rival Kane as the best striker in the Premier League. There's no L here. There isn't a single L here for Chelsea. This is the part of the show I was really looking forward to getting into, and I'm glad a super chat has brought this up. Thank you very, very much. This is not an L for Chelsea. They haven't been rejected by Haaland. They didn't spend the whole month working on a deal with Dortmund, get it agreed, and Haaland said no. There's one of two things that's happened here. Dortmund have said no to a ridiculous, crazy bid, which is on them. That is on them in a year's time when they only pick up £65 million. They better damn hope they make that Champions League as well now. The pressure on them is massive after turning this down. Or something that, again, I'm going to sound arrogant saying this, but I don't care. One of the kind of theories that I floated very early on was, and I've said it on most streams, there may be a point where Chelsea say, we don't want to do this Haaland deal because of the knock-on effects financially. If he comes in on 400 grand a week, how much more have we got to increase the salaries in 1 year, 2 year, 3 years time of the likes of Reece James, Mendy, Chilwell, Gilmore when he renews, Jorginho, Kai Havertz, Mount, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi. If the team gets better because of Haaland and they're all producing, all their pay rises are going to be massive. Can Chelsea afford that in 2 to 3 years' time from an FFP point of view, although the laws were relaxed for 1 year, maybe 2 years at a push? So there's financial ramifications for this deal going on. I think when the news comes out about why Lukaku, you may hear nothing. You may hear complete radio silence and almost a case of Lukaku was always the number one target. The media got it wrong. That is an option. The second option is they tried, but Dortmund didn't budge. So Chelsea moved on to another top-level target. Or the third option is Chelsea could have got it done, but they felt that actually it was too damaging to the club's financial structure, or they worried about it damaging the harmony in the dressing room if everybody else couldn't be paid as much as Haaland. None of those three reasons, and they're the only three reasons I can see logically being put forward, none of them are L's for Chelsea. because they've landed one of the best strikers in the world. For a good price at £100 million, the man's going to bang in over 35 to 40 goals in all competitions in this Thomas Tuchel system. It's a sensational piece of business by Chelsea Football Club, and they shouldn't be slagged off for it. Laughing at I don't understand what you're laughing at. Do you know what I mean? It's like, bruv, you didn't pull Michelle Keegan. Yeah, but I got Maya Jammer instead. Like, there's nothing to laugh about. What are you laughing at? I didn't go on with Nora Batty. Do you know what I'm saying? This is levels here. This is a serious striker. The other element I wanted to speak about tonight as well, because I think it's very, very important to focus on, is Arsenal and Martinez. There is, again, a fan theory that hasn't been confirmed or denied, though, by any major journalist yet. But as I've been claiming on the terrace for a few weeks, don't just trust one source. Everybody said the abuse that Matt Law, Dean Jones, and Simon Johnson got yesterday for old clips and new pieces of information about the Lukaku deal. Fabrizio said it isn't, said it isn't, said it isn't, said it isn't. This isn't Fabrizio Romano's fault. No blame should be placed on him. He told you what he was told. It's your fault for having one source. It's your fault for listening to one opinion. That is, I'm going to say this harshly, that's your stupidity and pig-headedness. No one journalist knows everything. They don't. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. And the reason I bring that up when it comes to the Martinez news is the fan theory again is Inter won't sell both. 36 hours ago, 24 hours ago, Martinez had no interest in joining Arsenal, and Lukaku was untouchable, wasn't for sale. It now transpires from some of the most credible sources on planet Earth when it comes to transfers that Martinez is open and interested in the idea of joining Arsenal Football Club. He's wanting to come to the Premier League and sees Arsenal as a very good fit for him. And Lukaku is potentially seconds away from being a Chelsea player again. Nothing is impossible when it comes to transfers. Now, you can all sit there and say, I don't think it will happen. That's fair. But I want to put an end to this disgraceful notion from fans, and I know I've done it before, so I'm putting myself in this category too, of, nah, not happening 100%. You don't know. You think it isn't going to happen. But to deny that it could logically or plausibly happen, it's just stupid now, and it ends today. It ends today. It's over. You know, and if Fabrizio says A and Matt Law says B, you listen to both and listen to the logic. Could either one happen? Yes, because no one person gets everything right on time. Never. There hasn't been a single journalist in the history of football that gets everything right. Do you know why? Because the clubs changed their mind. The clubs change directions. But it's the fans. And by the way, you then attack those journalists. And then their news comes back out. And it's like watered down, not really giving you answers. And you wonder why. Because you make them too afraid to share. So calm yourselves down. Be civilized. And get off their backs. Martinez, could he still go to Arsenal? Yes. He could still go to Arsenal. It's hard for Arsenal to get done regardless of Lukaku. And I said earlier, they want to act quick. And it's not about acting quick because if they don't get Martinez in before Lukaku, it's over. But there is talk of Abraham going elsewhere. And what they don't want to do is miss out on Martinez for any reason. And by the time they've done that, Tammy's sailed away. Because then they've watched the parade go by. So Arsenal have got to act quick, in my opinion. Not because Lukaku's leaving as such, but they don't want to miss out on both the number one and the number two targets as things stand right now. But do me a big favor and smash that like and that share button. We've got Have Hope backstage waiting to come on. We've also got CFC J as well. I think it's J. Is it Joe? I can't read that. It's J. There we go. Yeah, Jae. I just saw it, and I'm dyslexic, and that A looked like an O, bro, and that done my head in there. Coming on the show to have their say with me in a few moments' time. The bill here says, told you from the beginning, Lukaku is a great signing. Chelsea fans should not be disappointed, but excited. They absolutely should be excited about Lukaku coming home, in my opinion. 1,500 people watching, but we should easily be on 800 likes by now, minimum people. There's 50% the ratio on this. Let's get it done right now. You know the score. Terry, why are United fans so arrogant over Lukaku's improvement at Inter? Why do they ignore health problems and mental problems he suffered at times at United? He got 64 goals and 16 assists in 91 appearances at Inter. Any Man United fan that's denying the improvements is a fool. It's fair to say there's always a question mark over a player going in any direction across any borders when it comes to transfers. We've seen internal transfers in the Premier League not work out. We saw one of the best strikers ever in European football, in my opinion, in Shevchenko. And the kids won't remember, but man was a sublime striker. Flop. You know, we've seen players like Diego Forlan come to the Prem, look awful, go to Spain and be one of the best strikers over there for many, many years. These things just happen. People like to hedge their bets. They throw out some negativity instead of going, do you know what? I think he might struggle, but I'll be really intrigued to see what happens. It's 100%, it isn't going to work. And then what happens is if he flops, they say, see, I told you so. If he does really well, they look for all these weird excuses just to try and play it down. I would, my friend, ignore them and use your own brain and assess him for yourself. If they're being completely unyielding in their approach, they're not worth talking to. Nobody like that is, unless his name's Have Hope. We're going to share the link now for you to call in and have your say. That's just been shared in the live comment section now. I've also pinned it in the live comment section, so you cannot miss it. I'm just checking updates here. Nothing official has been announced about this right now either. Just a quick Jack Grealish update as well. Negotiations are still continuing between Man City, Aston Villa, and Jack Grealish. This week is key for this being completed and for this being done. There are reports from the likes of Fabrizio Romano that if it isn't concluded this week, Jack Grealish will stay at Aston Villa. And I think that's very much him saying to City, get it done now or forever hold your peace when it comes to this deal. But it's going to be very, very intriguing to see what happens there as well. Red United, not seen you in a while, my friend. Thank you for becoming a member again on the Football Terrace. It means a great deal to us here. It truly does. And a legend and superfan member at that. Make sure you go into the community page on YouTube and find the link to join the exclusive WhatsApp group for all of the legends and superfan members. Your membership will give you access to that code. First up on the show here, let me just want to get the boys on there to have their say. Got man like Have Hope here. We've got Jay here as well. How you doing, gentlemen?
All good, man. All good, man.
Lovely. Have Hope. I need your opinion first on this, bro. Lukaku imminent, on his way. Give me your thoughts.
It's not ideal, man. I mean, I wanted the link, man. You know, I wanted the link. I wanted the Haaland, man. And I think that, look, anything is better than that KGB double agent's piece of trash, garbage, scrap heap known as Timo Werner. So, you know, anyone is better than that complete clown. So at least you actually have a striker. But my thing, though, is the whole excitement of Haaland was, all right, you've won the Champions League. Havertz, one of the most exciting young players out there. Havertz with Mount, Ziad, and Haaland, a specialist striker. Now you have a guy. Because the thing with Lukaku is, of course, he's a good striker. But you've seen him, like, I remember, against Juventus, killing him maximum out of the game. Against Italy, again, killing Bonucci maximum out of the game. In big games, he tends to be marked out by much better elite defenders. So I just fear that for those games against City, Liverpool, where's that, man, if you win this game, it can now really give you an edge in the title race. I'm not sure that he'll be able to come in and come clutch. So, but look, it's an improvement, but I still have no idea why. I don't know whether it's Bram, Marina. If it's 170, give these guys 170, a yacht and a freaking mansion. so what do these clowns want? What do you want for this dude? Do you want a mansion? Do you want a yacht? Do you want an island, a house? Give them whatever the heck they want. So I just want to know what went wrong with why the Haaland deal did go down, man. So
yeah, look, we'll find that out. Jay, welcome, mate, and welcome, make for your debut on the Football Terrace. Good to have you here, of course, from Never a Foul. What's your take on this news, mate? I know that it's not formally announced yet, but generally speaking, when all the outlets report the same thing at the same time, it's pretty much a slam dunk. Are you happy with the capture, or are you disappointed that it wasn't Haaland?
First of all, thanks for having me as well. You know, I'm disappointed with Haaland. As you know, I've been tweeting about Haaland throughout the whole transfer market. I 100% wanted him, number one target. I feel like the whole transfer, I think the 150, 170 million plus obviously agent fees has probably put us off. But yeah, I'm buzzed. I'm not going to lie. weren't really, when we got linked to Lukaku the other day, I weren't really happy with the numbers. 100 million, not really suited for me, but at the end of the day, it's not my money. He's an elite striker. He's 28. He's in his prime. You know, we're getting a finished article, and he's going to want to prove himself in the Premier League after what happened at Man United. So, yeah, I'm buzzing. Hopefully, he hits the ground running. And listen, we needed a striker. The chances we created last season, even winning the Champions League, it was clear as day. We needed a goal scorer. The likes of Werner, Havertz, I think, will get better as well with that target man there. I think he is the right fit as well. Obviously, Haaland for me was number one, but yeah, man, I'm buzzing, and hopefully we get the deal done soon and he can play next Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same. I mean, I'm not a Chelsea fan, so it doesn't matter to me whether he. It does matter to me. Like, I suppose as a Man United fan, I don't want him to do well because like it's my team. But actually, for Lukaku, the man, you know, and I spent a lot of time with Dean Jones now talking on camera, off camera, and Dean has met him on a number of occasions. Speaks about what a wonderful and lovely man that he is, and I always like to hear of good people doing well. So I kind of hope for him that it works out. He comes back to the Prem and really proves his detractors wrong, and you know that he can make it here and deliver. But of course, it's going to be tough. Xavier here with the super chat says, "I'm excited. I'm at the chance of seeing Lukaku back at Chelsea. I believe he will smash it. He's in his prime, and I think he will silence all those that are doubting him." The comment here from Ansab, who says to HH, BDR.
Dortmund.
Borussia Dortmund are a funny club. They will do a transfer for business reasons, but their lifeblood are fans and football first. You may get him next year.
There is no next year. Like if Chelsea don't get him this year, it's going to be 100%. Real or Barcelona, because that's when the 70 mil release clause goes through. Which is why, because you have to look at the issue is, I don't know whether my colleague will agree, is that Haaland was looking at guys during the summer, so like Raiola and his dad, they went to Barca, they went to Real Madrid. So my thing is, does Haaland even want to go to Chelsea? No one even knows. So Dortmund may want to sell him, but Haaland may be like, oh no, I want to wait because I want to go to Real or Barcelona. But then when you now dig deeper, Real and Mbappe, that's happening. Does Haaland want to be in the same team as Mbappe, or does he want to form this rivalry and be in the opposing team as Mbappe? So, but I just think that this was the year, because this is the year where, okay, you can give Dortmund more money than 70 mil next year. Raiola and his dad will get that 40 mil agent's fee. So this was supposed to be the year in which, okay, it could make it happen. But next year, if it's between Chelsea and the legacy and status of Real, so Real, based of Real Madrid and Messi with Barcelona,
100%. Bayern Munich as well, to be fair. Lewandowski could be not leaving, but he's on his way out. He's getting older now. They're going to need a replacement for him. And if we sign Lukaku, we ain't going to need Haaland next year anyway. So it was literally this summer or not for me.
No, okay, but let me ask you this. So, honestly, if it was between Lukaku or Haaland, who would you choose?
Oh, Haaland, without a doubt, all day long. But I'm not going to moan about Lukaku. We need a striker.
As I said, based on the situation of chances created, and that's clown. Who missed another 1v1 against Arsenal in the preseason friendly? Bro, Lukaku is a market improvement. And also, like, when you look at what he did last season, because I think he got double figures in goals and assists for Inter Milan. Yeah. So 100% is going to be a massive improvement. But what this now means is, okay, you now have a goal scorer. And if Ziad, Mounts, Havertz can also chip in with those goals,
it would be nice.
It can amplify everything.
And okay, not only that, you talk about...
Sorry, gentlemen. Some breaking news has just come through here. I'm just trying to verify who the source is. It's from an Italian source who has said here, and of course I might get this information. I said earlier on today we'd see something like this. Borussia Dortmund reportedly rejected a £130 million offer from Chelsea last week for Haaland. The Germans would prefer to lose Haaland for 75 million euros next year. Now you'll see different. No one ever quite knows the monetary levels. This is 130. I've seen a few people say it was actually 130 euros in and around that. But like I've said, I think Chelsea have done what they can. I think this is a case of Dortmund really sticking their heels in and saying no. Now, I know there was a lot of talk. I mean, the 130 mark's interesting because obviously when I spoke to a couple of agents that we're dealing with now, and they said 130 plus 20, no one ever gets this information bang on, right? Because no one's sitting in there with Roman and Roman's telling them directly. It's all Chinese whispers to a certain degree. But if there was that 130, I think from a Chelsea point of view, if you've put the 130 in, maybe 130 plus bonuses, you're going to see variations of this news, right? Depending on who it comes from. I think at least shows that Chelsea did everything in their power to land this striker. But Haaland was only the number one choice because he's the best young striker available around. At the end of the day, the most important thing for Chelsea was signing a number 9, having a goal scorer in this team. And that's why we put out, when Dean spoke earlier today about how much Roman's been pushing this, people are like, yeah, but you said that Roman was pushing hard for Haaland. Yes, because Tuchel needs a striker. So, of course, he's pushing for them both. It was so important this year to get that deal concluded and over the line and getting that done. From your point of view, Jay, is it a nicer feeling to know? This hasn't been verified by anybody else yet. It's just one source for now. Is it nicer to know that you put a big 130 million offer in?
Yeah, I think. Look, it's at the end of the day. Look, obviously we wanted to sign him, but it is at least as I know my club done what we needed to try and do to sign him. And Dortmund are just being stubborn and just happily taking half the price next summer. And like you mentioned earlier on, they're not even guaranteed getting Champions League football anyway. So this is a massive risk for Dortmund. Whereas now we've put 130 odd million bid in, whatever, got rejected last week. That's just been reported. Whether or not, like you said, it's that exact number, we don't know. We definitely haven't got, once we've done that bid, there weren't no encouragement, I reckon, from Dortmund to suggest they was open to accepting more. And we're not going to probably go to 170 million, 150 odd million pounds for Haaland, including what he got to pay for Raiola and then his dad and all of that on top of then the contract as well. We just obviously thought it weren't plausible and thought, you know what, we can go and get a player like Lukaku who's in his prime, cheaper, wants to come to Chelsea, probably has unfinished business, and you know what, we're getting it done. So yeah, I'm happy that we've gone for it, but obviously I'm a bit disappointed that Dortmund have been a bit stubborn. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just hope they don't get Champions League football next season.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's the risk they're taking, and it almost went that way with Sancho until that it almost went that way where they almost missed out on the Champions League, and on top of missing out on the Champions League, they got a hell of a lot less money for what they originally wanted for him, and in the end, it resolved itself. So it's going to be big for them. This is the thing when you make these decisions. It's calculated. If they smash the league, and I say smash, they're not going to win it because Bayern Munich always do. But if they come second in the league, have a good Champions League run, and win their version of the FA Cup again, I forget the name of it, whatever it's called, then it's completely and utterly justified in doing that. But of course, losing that money, it's a big one. If they miss out on the Champions League, someone who made that decision's head is rolling because it's a hell of a lot of money indeed. We're going to start going to your calls here. And stuff like that. What is this? What's someone saying here? Someone here says, Terry, Craig sent for you in his stream. I have no idea who you're talking about. Oh, you mean Anfield Agenda, Craig? If he did, let him crack on.
So people are still looking for you, Terry.
Do you know what it is, brother? I don't know, man. I don't know anymore. It's like, I had someone that I've known on the YouTube scene for about 5 years DM me today, and he said, like, why are you making up all these transfer rumors? And I sort of said, what ones? He said, all the ones you've been talking about today. I was like, do you not know about my shows and who we have on? And that's all I was saying, right? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't explain it to him. I'm like, you obviously don't watch my content, so it's like whatever. But I actually doubt this is probably just a troll who's trying to cause trouble.
Always gonna get haters, man.
But even listen, if Craig is, I don't care. If he isn't, then I think LFP.
Wait, where is safe? Is safe still around?
It might be safe, yeah. Listen, but as I'm going to say, if he is, I couldn't care less. If he isn't, and this guy needs to like relax. Like I don't care. It is what it is. Like I sleep very comfortably at night. But there we go. I'm pretty sure Craig hasn't mentioned my name at all. To be honest with you. But there we go. He's got a great channel. He's doing very, very well himself. So he has no need to have me in his mouth at all. Do you know what I mean? And but But there we go. Someone here says LFC Day Trippers. LFC Day Trippers is a great channel. Love LFC Day Trippers. Great boys over there. No, well, right. We're going to add some callers to this as well. Now we're going to get Matty on first to have his say. We've got Jake to come. We've got Winter Surfer to come. We've got South London to come. Samuel to come. Loads of people to call in. Matty's here with us first. What are you saying, Matty?
How you doing, Terry? You okay?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know about Lukaku. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean he's got a point to prove. Obviously, he's got to prove his time in the Premier League wrong. For Manchester United. But if we get Lukaku, we get Lukaku. At the end of the day, he's a potent striker. However, there is obviously, I think, to be honest with you, I think the Haaland situation. I think Mino Raiola was obviously had his next club in mind, hence why he did the tours around Spain, Real Madrid and Barcelona. So I think maybe we should have read between the lines, really. But it was a shame. It was nice to see that we could have at least wrestled or at least tried to get him off Dortmund's hands. But I mean, if we can't get Lukaku, if they say, I think we should go in full throttle for Vlahovic from Fiorentina. I think he would be a really, really good player. And I think if not, it would be Martinez from Inter.
He's the 21-year-old, isn't it, striker?
No, but is this instead of Lukaku?
Yeah, if we can't land Lukaku, mate, we've got at least get somebody.
Sorry. Instead of Lukaku.
Yeah. If we can't get Lukaku, who's left? Because obviously we can't get Haaland, we can't get Lukaku.
We'll end up with Danny Ings. That's what happened.
Oh,
whoa. What the hell? Ings?
No.
I don't want it, but I'm telling you, that's what would end up happening.
Yeah.
That is a Chelsea transfer, I'm telling you.
Matt, guys, this is the point. You make a great... Sometimes, again, football fans sometimes don't engage logic. I remember when Man United signed Harry Maguire, and I don't remember who said it. It was like, I can name you 5 better... He basically said he ain't top 5. There's 5 better defenders in the league that we could have got. And he named them all, right? And he named 2 Liverpool centre-backs, 2 City centre-backs, and a Spurs centre-backs before 4 years left on his contract. And it was like, so you think any of them are attainable? Would those clubs sell to us? No. Then it becomes an irrelevance. If you can't buy the play, it doesn't matter if there's 20 strikers that are better than Lukaku. If for one reason or another they're unattainable for Chelsea, you've got to buy number 21. You can't do it. And that's where fans need to... Like I heard someone say the other day, oh, mate, I don't want Sal Niguez if Pogba goes. Oh, who do you want? He goes, we should just break the bank and sign Kante. Chelsea, it's something that's not worth... Again, in our dreams, there's all things we dream for, but it isn't a plausible thing to want. You're wanting something that's never... It's like me thinking, I'm going to wake up tomorrow, I'm going to be 6'2" tomorrow. It ain't happening. I can go gym. I can blow dry the hair, what's left of it, but I'm not going to be 6'2". Do you know what I mean?
Wait. How tall are you?
5'10".
Oh,
yes, I am.
Because I've not seen you in person in ages. I thought you were actually like taller than 5'10".
No, it's obviously I'm very muscly and very wide. Do you know what I mean? But no, not really.
No. Give me a muscle, man. Give me a break.
I said, 40-inch chest, not bad. It's all right. I'm all right. Listen, I'm right size for me. Do you know what I mean? If I was any wider, my height, I wouldn't be able to walk properly. Why does Have Hope have a Gabriel Obertan head?
Bro.
Yeah, Obertan.
Look, Jamie, man. Yeah, I think it's like the 3rd or 4th inch. It takes a strange person to actually put money into their pockets to try to abuse me. But at the end of the day, you are abusing a guy who is a UCL winner. So you can say all you want and everything. Then I'm a UCL winner, Champions League winner. So it goes over my head, Jamie, you clown.
I love it.
Let's put it this way. I get told I look like Timo Werner, so it's
a little bit. Listen, Matty, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it. Man, next on the show, Jake Miller is here, another Chelsea fan. Give us your thoughts and feelings, bro.
All right, mate. Listen, anybody saying that they're not interested in Lukaku, I don't know how people can go and say that they're absolutely against Lukaku in that poll. How anyone can even do that is beyond me. I've just got a few stats for you here. In all of these categories, Lukaku is number one for last year for Inter Milan. Most goals scored, most assists provided, most dribbles completed, most shots on target, most chances created, most touches in the opposition box, most big chances, joint and most through balls, and most duels contested. We are talking about one of the best strikers in the world. Top four: Lukaku, Lewandowski, Harry Kane, Haaland. How anyone can be mad about Lukaku is beyond me.
Well said.
Can I just ask you one quick thing though? Like, again, great stats and so forth. Because I watch a lot of the Serie A, and I think his footballing mechanics has improved so much, and his partnership with Lautaro Martinez was amazing. So hence why it would have been amazing if Chelsea could let's just sneak in a Griezmann to form that same thing they had with Lautaro. But Man City, huge game, like January, February, United, title decider, huge game. Champions League semi, Bayern Munich. Do you trust Lukaku? 1-1, it's tight. Do you trust Lukaku to score the key goal in that big game?
I do, yeah. I think his mentality's come on leaps and bounds. Antonio Conte has got his claws into him and turned him into a winner. That's what Antonio Conte does. He is a proven winner, and when he works with people, he turns them into winners. There's a drill that Conte was making Lukaku do. He had a Inter Milan centre-back stood behind Lukaku, and the drill was the ball got played into Lukaku, and Lukaku had to either make a pass or get around this defender. If he failed or didn't do it in a certain time slot, they had to restart the drill. They used to do it for hours and hours and hours. His first touches improved, his strikes improved, his passes improved. We're not talking about someone who used to struggle at Man United anymore. We're talking about an elite gunman.
Definitely.
Yeah, listen, I hear you completely. And do you know what I would say about Lukaku at Man United? I know he had a very small period of time under Oli, but I don't judge either player or Oli for what went on then, because Oli took over a very poisonous and toxic dressing room at the time. Lukaku's head was already turned to want to leave because of what had happened. But he didn't operate under an elite Jose. You know, he was operating under Jose well past his best. I know you love him, HH, but he was well past his best. You've seen what
2010 trouble.
Mate, and he was brilliant back then. Do you know what I mean? But he isn't that man anymore, or at least he hasn't been that man for a long time. Thomas Tuchel getting hold of him, who is again like Conte at the peak of his powers, someone that's a brilliant manager, someone that has a great system that just needs somebody to do what Lukaku does. A lot of Man United fans are like, Oli, whether people like Oli's style or not, it's a different debate. Oli wanted a striker that had, at the time, you know, his ability on the ball, his ability to run the channels, kind of like Lukaku's a better finisher than Cavani. I think Cavani's approach play and overall football around the box is better, as an example. That's what Oli wanted. I look at Chelsea's system and just see a team that for the majority of the goals they miss, they need someone to finish loads of one-on-ones and crosses and through balls across that 6-yard box. And that legitimately is the bread and butter of Lukaku. I just think he's got the elite manager he needs now, a manager at the peak of his powers, a club that's desire is to only win. And then on top of that, you're talking about a team whose football is conducive with the way Lukaku plays. And I just honestly, as a Man United fan, I'm worried about it. The only thing I'm happy about is it does give us a chance now of signing Haaland next year.
That is a good point. You know, yeah. I've said that to a couple of people. I know a couple of good friends that are Man United fans, and that is something that we're going to have to watch out for.
Definitely.
I know there's a Leeds thing and the Man City thing with Haaland, so it is like he's a boyhood Leeds fan, and his dad used to play for Man City. But I think wherever he feels like his career can develop is where he will go. Sancho's gone to Man United. We've seen what they can do together. I'm a little bit worried if we don't get Haaland.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
Like Cavani goes and Haaland comes in, that is something that worries me. But I just want to say one more thing about Lukaku and Tuchel, like you were mentioning. One thing that gets passed over so easily, since Tuchel joined the Premier League, no team has created more chances than Chelsea. You add an elite gunman to that, that is going to cause some problems.
Definitely.
It is, and I think people denying it, like anyone who watches the Football Terrace knows, I don't speak nonsense about my rivals just for the sake of speaking nonsense. I save that till the real moments of hardship, and then I really rub the salt in because it's fun, right?
When Timo's missing 7 shots in
you bide your time, right? You bide your time. But it's dangerous what Chelsea have got on their hands next year. It really is. We're gonna add some more callers. We've got Ziad to come. We've got Winter Surfer to come. We're gonna get Samuel on. That's an Arsenal fan right now. Samuel, I want your take on Lukaku come in and not Haaland, but equally, what do you think this means for your pursuit of Lautaro Martinez?
Well, I think Romelu Lukaku is a great signing for Chelsea because I think this is a way different man that was at Man United 3 or 4 years ago. Since he's came to Inter Milan, he's been an absolute beast. You know, top scorer in Serie A. I think he outscored Ronaldo last season, which, despite age, is still an impressive feat. You know, Lukaku is a special player, and he's working with a world-class manager, and Thomas Tuchel, who I believe could get the best out of him. And unlike Jose Mourinho, you know, who was basically past his prime, like someone said earlier, at Manchester United, you know, I believe Chelsea have the players, have the system to get this done. They have also the financial capabilities because Lukaku, I mean, I would say right now is a better signer for Chelsea than Haaland because I think he can make an immediate impact. I don't see Chelsea waiting next summer for Haaland. I honestly can't see. I think Chelsea need a striker right now because this striker situation at Chelsea, I think, is quite down. You know, they have many strengths, but I wouldn't say the striker is one of them. You know, Timo Werner hasn't impressed too much. And, you know, with Chelsea, they expect the best straight away, and Timo Werner hasn't done that. So I think a striker is the most important thing. And I understand why they're going for Lukaku. They can't wait for Haaland. And you know what? Lukaku 100 million, I think, is a great buy. What it means for us with Lautaro Martinez, I think, you know, Inter are going to sell one of the two. And I think that, like, I heard news earlier that they'd much rather they would sell Lautaro Martinez than Romelu Lukaku because, you know, Lukaku is far more crucial to Inter Milan than Lautaro Martinez is. And, well, listen, we're just standing around here waiting to sell players, or Chelsea are going to get possibly the signing of the summer. Signing of summer coming towards Chelsea. Martinez, you know, he's a great player, but I never think Arsenal are going to get this deal through the line. You know, it's always the same story with Arsenal, nitpicking, pocket pinching, finding every single penny to try and get a player. And I think it'll be very, very difficult to get the deal done. But listen, you have to give credit to Marina and the Chelsea board. You know, they're not complacent. Well, they're not complacent on, you know, we won the Champions League. We don't really need to add the Champions League Europe. No, because they want to win the Premier League title last season. Let's not forget, Chelsea came 4th last season. Now I'm on the brink of finishing 5th. I know they won the Champions League, but even then, they know that's not good enough. And that was appalling. By Chelsea standards right now, under the Abramovich era, that was an appalling season in the Premier League last year with 66 points. And now, getting Lukaku, I think they could challenge for a title. I think Lukaku is a missing piece in that Chelsea team. He's the main key of Chelsea's Premier League title run. If you look at Manchester United, who will be in the title charge this season, and Manchester City, you know, who are going to possibly build, or their super team already, but add more fuel to the fire with Harry Kane and Jack Grealish. I think it is possibly Chelsea, smart move, and I think I believe he'll be a top scorer next season. Simple as. That's what I believe, Terry.
Well said, man.
I think what you've said there about Chelsea, a lot of Chelsea fans all summer were talking about the notion of I don't remember the seasons where you won the Champions League before, and when you won a Premier League recently,
2012, 2015.
Oh yeah, and then you didn't reinvest, you didn't spend the right amount of money. I sort of looked at it like, I get the issues you've got there, but this was a very different summer. You were looking for a very specific type of player. I know Matt Law has kind of reported today you've called on the Declan Rice situation, but that's because most people have. I actually think if Man United were like firing on all cylinders for him, that could tempt you into this. The reason why Chelsea have had to act on strikers this year is I think Chelsea always knew they were going to struggle to get Haaland next year, irrespective of signing Lukaku now. Because one of the big demands that Haaland wanted, he wants to go to a legacy club next. So he wants to go to the biggest club available that's doing very, very well, which is why Real Madrid are looked at as the favourites. They are the biggest legacy club. And if they're doing very well next year, he could very much go there. The chance United have got is what is their financial state and where are they going to be in the league next year? Like if they have a bad season and finish 4th, go out early in the Champions League and United are flying, it could change things. But I think Chelsea's response, you're bang on, Sam, is just been, it's a sign of champions. They want to go for it this year and do what they've got to do. Super Chat here says, if this report is true that Dortmund about Dortmund, then that means that Haaland wasn't for us. I believe his fee would have unstable the squad. Haaland is unproven. Lukaku is a better player now, just as De Bruyne. Yeah, I mean, it's at least Chelsea are getting this one back. At least he's not going to Man City and doing things.
Yeah,
Reggie said, "Hey Terry, been busy with some projects. Why is no one
$20? Jeez.
talking about Mbappe? He
big.
doesn't sign a new contract. Why can't they go for him? Chelsea sign Mbappe and we sign Haaland. Ronaldo, Messi battle like that. I mean,
He's going Real Madrid. Isn't
Yeah, he's definitely free contract.
Thank you very much for that super chat. Like, I find the Mbappe one interesting. I think nobody's going to go for him. And what's happening this summer, we've seen it already. Like, I've been getting into fights with people today because they annoy me, and they annoy
Getting
me.
your boxing gloves out.
More because 1 minute they talk about PR, and then when the PR doesn't suit their narrative, it's all no. There's a process to everything, and it's like,
Yeah.
if Mbappe doesn't want to join Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, Barca, Bayern, they won't even talk to his agent. There is no mileage in doing it. It's a waste of everybody's time. Like I said the other day, no way Chelsea were continuing to keep tabs on Lukaku if they didn't think they could sign him. If legitimately he wasn't going to leave, they would have given up months ago. Chelsea are not stupid. So I do get your point. Go after Mbappe if you can. I think Mbappe's got his eye on one football club and one football club only. That's why it's one of the things where whenever a top journalist gets questioned about Liverpool going after him, they try not to laugh. They're like, why is everyone talking about it? Like it can never happen. But listen, it would be amazing to have them both in the Premier League. But I don't know if that's going to, I mean, if it does happen, I'll eat my hat. Like, maybe not literally, that'll kill me, but like that'll be a mad one. Thank you for that super chat.
Oh, with both of them, Terry, I think in 8 or 9 years, at least one of them will be in the Premier League. I think Haaland will go Barcelona after Dortmund if Chelsea don't get him. I think that's the most likely piece. I know, given Barcelona, but Barca, I think Barca's financial situation is a mess. Maybe in the future it could improve. Haaland could go to Barcelona.
Improving. Look at how much they've had to do to get the signings, to be able to announce the signings. Depay, Sergio Aguero, they've had to seriously pull themselves out.
And listen, anything can happen next year. Listen, if there's another resurgence, fingers crossed it happens nowhere in the world. There's another spike of COVID, or there's another lockdown period, or fans don't come back. If they have more financial issues, it could be difficult for them to sign one. If you're talking about both, I can't see Real Madrid getting both, and that's also what would be the thing here.
I don't see Haaland going Barcelona.
If you're asking me,
you don't.
If you're asking me, Haaland is going to Man United next season. That is my. If anyone wants to take an early bet on that, I'll put a tenner on it. That is my.
I reckon Bayern Munich's
gut feeling.
Big shout. I really do. I think Bayern Munich's a massive shout to replace Lewandowski.
I don't know. I can't remember who mentioned it, but someone mentioned that out of respect he wouldn't go from Dortmund to Bayern. I don't know how true that is.
But the thing is, you can't forget his agent. His agent is Mino Raiola. And as many clubs will be put off by that, you know.
That is true.
Listen, it's going to be a very, very interesting saga indeed. And I thought there was an update from Christian Falk. It isn't, because it was one of the fake accounts that sometimes I get caught out by. We add Winter Surfer to the stream now. Winter Surfer, the deal looks imminent. I actually want to get your thoughts on something different. Connected though. What's your thoughts on this story that's come out? We've shared it on Twitter. That a £130 million offer of sorts was made and rejected. Are you satisfied that you did your best to get Haaland first?
Yeah, I'm always satisfied. I'm one of those who believes that Roman doesn't treat this as a Plato. He treats it like a business, and he will only put in. They're only putting bids that they think are suitable. They won't go overboard. I was never of belief that we'll just spend the money and get Haaland like that. We'll just blow them out the water. It was always going to be they were going to bid what they thought the player was worth, and they were putting a bid of 100. Is it 130 million pounds? Or is it 130 million euros?
I've
seen euros. The first one I saw said pounds, and then I sort of searched the guy's name. I've seen euros and pounds. So
it's about 115 million or something like that.
Yeah, and listen, what you'll probably find, Winter Surfer, is in the next day or two, there'll be some that are going to say 130 euros, say 130 pounds. Some are going to say high. Like you'll get a broad stroke between say in pounds, it will range between 100 to 130. I almost guarantee that, just because that's be the case. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm satisfied with that. I think more will come out. Like I said, I just think that if anyone knows how Chelsea work, no matter how much money we have, we still work as a business. We're trying to not have Roman come in and pump in money. We've done it for the last 10 to 12 years. So I just believe Roman wasn't ever going to come in and take 150 million pounds from his personal fortune and pump it in as an extra money for us. So, but I wanted to say that I think Lukaku's, if he comes, his impact, not only his goals, it will be big on the team as well, on someone like Kai Havertz.
Timo Werner as well.
Yeah, but especially Kai Havertz. I think just Lukaku's distractions will allow Kai Havertz to just not be picked up, as we've seen before in the Euros, when he's had someone up there with him. His runs are not picked up, and I expect him and Werner to get a lot of goals this season while playing with Lukaku. So I think his impact, if he comes, because I have to say if he comes, will be also a great impact on the team itself as well. Because I think, like you said, he had those drills where he learned, to hold the ball up or pass it off. You saw his stats. People are going to say it's Serie A, but he's still doing it. They would have a go at him if he wasn't doing it in Serie A. You still have to do it.
People say it's Serie A, and then half of the Premier League top six were clucking recently to sign Locatelli.
Yeah.
I just take that kind of analysis with a very, very large pinch of salt. Ziad is with us now. Before we go to Ziad, I want to go to a couple of super chats that have come through. This says Inter paid £73 million for an overweight and out of shape Lukaku. He has improved physically and his technique in the past 2 years. He is worth $100 million. Drogba had his best season after being 28 years of age. RL can do the same. Romelu Lukaku, of course, can do the same. I agree with that completely. I think he just looks brilliant at the moment, Lukaku. We saw that so much the other day. Barca and Madrid are skint. Why do you think they are still clinging to the Super League and Bayern Munich won't pay Haaland's wages? Haaland is lined up for Manchester United. And look, listen, Gary Turner, I think you make a great point, and I think I still put Real Madrid as favourites. I still get the feeling that as soon as they can, the Spanish government's going to sort them right out. I just get this feeling.
What do you think about Mbappe in terms of that, though, Terry? Where do you put Mbappe in that situation? Because I can't see Mbappe going anywhere else other than Real Madrid, and it's clear that he's counting down his contract for them.
Yeah, so I think he'll go Real Madrid. One of the other reasons why I don't think they can afford him and Haaland, because collectively, what they're going to get paid to go to Real Madrid a week, what it's going to be like? What £1 to £1.5 million per week in wages? A gal on the show last night made some good points, but he was talking about all these players whose contracts are ending and their wages will be 3. And I'm like, yeah, but that's like their midfielders and defenders and whatever. You've got to replace. You can't actually win the league or the Champions League with an average defensive midfield and Mbappe and Haaland up front. You still need that. You think about when Ronaldo and Messi were in their pomp and winning Champions Leagues and La Ligas. Look who was behind them in midfield and in defense. They were the greatest players on planet Earth in amazing teams. I don't think Haaland and Mbappe are not stupid. If they look at the midfield and the defense of both those clubs and think it's good on an elite level scale, it's like bang average, that can be a decision swayer. And do I think they can afford both and fill all those other positions that they need? They need new midfielders. The likes of Toni Kroos getting older. They've let Ramos and Varane have both gone this year. Like, who's their left back now at Real Madrid? Is it still Marcelo?
Ferdinand
Mendy. I know Marcelo. I don't watch it, so I am out of touch with it. But like, is he of the elite? And I don't know. Like, for me, I just look at that squad and I see some holes in it. I see it aging. You've seen it the last 2 years in the Champions League. It just isn't what it was. I don't think Haaland and Mbappe together, which is going to take up a huge chunk of your budget, because people forget one thing: they're not free. Right. If you sign on a free,
It only goes into the pocket
gonna
in signing
pay
on fees and things
tens
anyway.
of millions of pounds signing on fees. They're not free of charge, as people seem to think. This isn't the case, because what happens is at the end of a contract, again, net spend nonsense here. A player then owns his own transfer card, and you've got to buy it for you to own the transfer card. You don't actually buy players. That'd be really weird. You buy the card. You buy their player card. And for you to transfer it to your club, when the player owns it, you pay him a mass signing on fee. Look at Aaron Ramsey when he was on a free. Aaron Ramsey was on a free, and he got 400 grand a week. and something like a 20 million pound signing on fee when he was well past his best. Like, now apply that to an Mbappe going to the biggest club in the world. You pay him 60, 70 million to sign him in agent fees and player fees, and then he's going to want 400 or 500 grand a week. He just is. And I don't think they can do that twice in one. I don't think they can afford that twice in one summer when they've got the midfield and defensive holes they've got. So there is a chance. There is, in my opinion, a legitimate chance that those things can be done and get themselves over the line.
Also, on a point earlier, I think someone said in the comments that I think it said, the Spanish government can help them out, but they're skint. But let me tell you this, okay? Real Madrid and Barcelona are two of the biggest businesses and tourist attractions in Spain. Thousands of people around the world come to Spain to see those two football clubs. And just imagine you get possibly the next big thing, or is the next big thing in Mbappe, to come to Real Madrid. You know, it will benefit both the Spanish nation and Real Madrid as well. It'll bring a lot more media attention, and even Real Madrid can still expand its fan growth by bringing in Kylian Mbappe. And he's one of us, like, he is one of the most marketable players in the world, and obviously is a must take for Real Madrid. Because Real Madrid, you know, they love marketing their players. You know, you had it with the Galacticos, you had it with Zidane, the amount of adverts they do. And Real Madrid now, Mbappe is the poster boy of that Real Madrid team, and he will be in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly going to be an interesting one. It's going to be an absolutely interesting one. There's no doubt about it. I'm excited to see how that one transpires and moves forward. That's for next summer. This week, when I tweeted on Sunday night that it was going to be a bit of a roller coaster week. Again, I got a lot of. I don't know why I get a lot of shit, but I did.
Yeah, the bigger you get, the more shit you get. Let's face it.
Right, this is. I remember listening to Goldbridge once, and he basically said, like, if you got 100 followers, you might have like 5 to 10 that think you're a knob. You got 1,000 and it's 50 to 100, 10,000, and it just works its way up like that. But it is what it is. Like, anyone who's got a brain, you don't even need inside knowledge to know that the week that all the superstars were returning to training and all the players that were returning to training have got transfer situations on the horizon was going to happen. And I always felt that City's pursuit of Jackie Grealish and Harry Kane would trigger Chelsea into action straight away. They tried to get it done sooner, but I always felt it was going to be a bit of a catalyst, because Chelsea were never going to stand on ceremony and watch. I'm never going to stand on ceremony and watch City improve that dramatically without reacting, because Chelsea's only desire every season is to win league titles. It's as simple and straightforward as that. Ziad.
Yes, Terry.
You ain't spoke yet, have you?
No, not yet.
Biding his time. Biding his time. Give this man the floor.
You didn't say, my brother. What are you going to say?
Yeah, when you were asking about are we happy that we did what we had to do in terms of Haaland? Honestly, no, because if this is true that we put in 130 million euros, that's nowhere near enough what Dortmund were asking for. And we've known from the get-go what we have had to do, what we need to do to get Haaland in every single way, and what we're going to have to pay Haaland, we're going to have to pay Dortmund, the agent, Haaland's dad. And in this long space of time, in over 2 months, all these months, we haven't got anywhere near there. So that's why I feel there's a negative. So we haven't even put the asking price for Dortmund. So how can we expect to get the player? So what have we really been doing with Haaland all this time? Trying to just negotiate with a stubborn team to get the price lower and lower, which, if we were realistic with ourselves, it wasn't ever going to happen. But then when you look at the other side, we're about to sign, looks like we're about to sign a world-class striker. And at the end of the day, when we came into the window, every Chelsea fan's main objective was Chelsea get a world-class striker. Chelsea get a striker that can finish. And that's what it looks like we're getting. So we can't, no Chelsea fan can really be annoyed. I'm personally annoyed because I don't feel we did enough to try to get Haaland. But at the same time, we were working on both at the same time. we were working on two world class strikers at the same time that both look impossible to leave. And we've it looks like we've been able to convince Inter Milan by putting the money on the table and get Lukaku. So in the grand scheme of things, when this transfer window ends, we're going to go into a new season with the world-class striker, with the striker that will score goals, a Premier League proven striker who's only going to help us and get us closer to the Premier League. And especially with a manager like Tuchel, it's going to be great for him. And great points with Antonio Conte, how Antonio Conte managed Lukaku. He's completely changed him. You see him now. His body was always great, but his physique right now looks to top standard. And even his link-up play with Martinez, in training sessions, his first touch had to improve, because that's the main key when you want to link up with another striker. So I am disappointed that I don't feel we did all in our ability to get a Haaland. But then they were going to the Premier League this season with a world-class striker that's only going to improve us.
Sorry if I just cut in.
Go on, Jake,
I won't worry too much about us not doing enough for Haaland. I think if it was possible, it'd have been done. I've never known Roman not get a player that he wants. You look at Shevchenko, Crespo, Havertz. They were probably the top three most widely regarded Roman transfers, ones that he desperately wanted. When he wants something, he gets it. So this is a case of Dortmund cutting the nose off to spite the face. And I think they're looking at it that if he goes, they might not get Champions League football, and then the money that they make off him, they're lost out on anyway. So I think if Chelsea have stopped the pursuit, it's probably because it was nigh on impossible. Roman literally bought an Italian club to keep Zola at Chelsea. We're talking about a man who is aggressively, he just gets what he wants, man.
I think as well, Ziad, I do get your point, but again, we have to kind of weigh up everything we all got told. And as I said at the time, I was told a 30 plus 20 million bid. Maybe they offered that and Dortmund said, we don't want add-ons. It's all or nothing in one go. Like performance-related add-ons they were. Maybe they said no to that. Chelsea also, even with Roman's money, there is still an upper limit. There is still an amount that they have to there is still an amount that they have to like commit themselves to not go above. That just simply has to be in place. And they may felt they got to that upper limit and they didn't want to exceed it because of the knock-on effects it has, you know. And 100 million is a lot of money for a striker. And Chelsea also have to ensure that they don't get their trousers pulled down a little bit and spanked on the backside and don't get dictated to too much. And we only know through, like, everyone's got different like sources and reports and everything else in there. Remember, there were some sources like the Christian Eckners of this world who outright just said not going for love nor money. So there's some German outlets that disagreed with Fabrizio and with Jan Fjortov that it just wouldn't happen regardless. And maybe Chelsea said, listen, 130 is as much as we value the player at. Like, as fans, we always, it's not my money, I want us to spend it. But clubs have to set these standards at all levels. So I do get the disappointment because he could be one of the seminal players of the next 15 years, and we all want to have him. But equally, look, he could join Man United next year. And then we spend the next 6 years fighting with Mino Raiola, and it's an horrible relationship. And you might all sit there going, whoa. So my view would be, have a bit of disappointment, get excited about Lukaku, and then wait to see what happens with Haaland, because who knows? Do you know what I mean? Maybe he goes to Man United next year and he does flop, and you're like, thank God we didn't drop 130 on him, 140, but we'll see what happens. Paul Ross here, sorry guys. Paul Ross here says, to be honest, I'd rather Brojan, if no deal.
Armando Broja.
Armando Broja.
Yeah.
9, would Chelsea fans be happy with Mason, Callum, Timo and Kai as a link-up? Risky but worth a shot. Would any of you Chelsea fans rather not have signed a striker?
No.
No way, man.
No.
No.
Broja's good, but he's so young, man.
Broja,
have him as a
there's
third-place striker.
I'm sorry, that Broja thing, I'm sorry, he still needs to go out on loan. And you can rely on Kyle all you want. He's great, but he's not clinical. If Chelsea fans, like I want to go for the title again, you buy a striker. Lukaku is the difference from turning defeats into draws and draws into wins. And that's what we were great we were good in the big games. It's the little games that cost us. You know, we scraped over the line with the help of Spurs to finish 4th. That's embarrassing. As much as Tuchel was great, that is embarrassing. You know what I mean? So we need. And with the last couple of seasons, we've had to go to the last day of the season to finish fourth. I mean, that's Arsenal
Twice in a
standards.
row. Yeah.
You know
Oh
what I
my
mean?
God.
You know, we're not like that. We have higher standards. So
I
we
hear you
want the
on
league
that.
back as well.
Yeah, we had a super chat from Twisted Bubba here that says, "What was
Sorry,
the
Sam.
point of Raiola's traveling circus?" Well, look, the point of Raiola traveling around was simple. It was to cause the media attention that it was done on purpose in that way. Have you noticed at every airport, the paparazzi were there. They knew where they were going, where they were going to be. It was to create Mino Raiola, love him or loathe him. Do you know what? Mino Raiola is like he's like the promoter version of Conor McGregor. You don't need to like him, but he's amazing at his job for his clients. Like, you can think Conor McGregor is the worst human being on planet Earth. But
There's a reason why everybody wants him as the manager.
There's a reason. I haven't done the maths on this, but I swear if you added up all of these big fights in the UFC and combined the monetary income of all those fights, it would be a huge percentage of the overall total pay-per-view fights in the history of the UFC. It would be, I would even guess 60-70% is all because of him being on those fight cards.
His box office.
Exactly.
Office,
and Mino Raiola is box office from an agent point of view. He's look at all these clients. They're all superstars. And people go to him for a reason. So that's why I think that happened, my Twisted Bubba, was to create this hullabaloo. I think they would have been happy to move this year. I think that Haaland's a kind of player that wants a £150 million tag on his name to go watch me go and prove what I can do with it. But they'll wait until next year now. And a little bit like the Lukaku situation. I think they're happy to stay at Dortmund another year. But if they got to leave this year, they'd have been equally as excited. And that's how I felt the whole summer about Lukaku. Based on my conversations with Christophe Terreur and Sasha Tavalieri, Pete, and all these other very credible journalists that we've had on the terrace this year, they all said the same thing in one way, shape, or form. I don't quite believe a player that just says, "No, I'm happy to stay where I am," unless it's their boyhood club, and that boyhood club is at the elite end of the spectrum, is one of the legacy clubs. I never believe any of them, and that's why it was done. KC here says revenue-wise, Barca and Real Madrid are still top two and higher than Man United due to the fan-owned structure. They are more transparent.
They are more transparent.
Sorry, getting Haaland isn't an issue. New wage limits of the Liga are causing a problem. And look, we'll see. I don't know too much about that. Maybe we'll get. What you know? What? Maybe I'll try and get him on. I haven't spoke to him in a while. Is get Kieran Maguire on to break it down to us from from that point of view. Here we go. Update here from Fabrizio Romano. He says Chelsea preparing a new bid to sign Romelu Lukaku. Proposal expected to be 120 to 130 million euros. Opening bid turned down by Inter was exactly what we quoted yesterday.
Yep.
Now been classified 100 million euros plus Marcos Alonso. Chelsea are also offering Lukaku a long-term contract of, he said, 12 million euros net per season. Changes slightly. He thinks it's nearer the 30 million a year, £250,000 a week. But you're always going to get those slight differentials on these reports. But Fabrizio's put it in. They are preparing that new bid. And I'm telling you now, Fabrizio's being updated directly from that boardroom at Inter Milan. And have you seen, and this is not a knock at Fabrizio if you're a fan, his stance has changed today. Yesterday, it was, and it just is. And it's because, and I don't feel sorry for him. It's one of these things where he just reports on what he's told most of the time. He doesn't really, in my view, when I listen to him, say, I was told this, but I think that. That's where, like, say, him and Dean differ. Dean will say, I was told this, heard that, but what I think is this. He's very much different from that Fabrizio. It's this, that, and that is what I've been told. And up until yesterday, Inter Milan had told everyone in Italy he was untouchable and he wasn't out. And Lukaku said he didn't want to move. But like was been said before, depends who your contacts are. I can't reveal who my sources, right? Who the source is. My source, we know who my sources are. They come on the bloody channel. I can't reveal who their sources are, but it was revealed to me today who involved in this deal has been given the information. And it makes sense that it's very different in the early stages from Fabrizio Romano because it's from a completely different element of the deal. And the way an agent or a manager will describe the situation to, say, a senior board member of the purchasing or selling club is very different. And fans, that's why I say to people, use 3, 4, 5 sources. Trust what they're telling you is correct information as it's been supplied, and then basically put it all together and then read between the lines. And normally, somewhere in between like line 37 is the truth. That tends to be it with transfers. Like
I'm telling you, Terry, I'm telling you, this is so fast paced. We've got a friendly against Spurs tomorrow. He's going to be signed. He's going to walk out holding the European Cup in front of Spurs fans in that new yellow strip that's like Dortmund.
Yeah.
Like that. He's going to hold it up like that. That's how fast this deal's going.
I'll tell you what would be nice.
Go on, Jake.
I tell you what would be nice if Lukaku comes in and scores a winning goal in Super Cup final. Now that would be nice.
After
what happened.
That's the story.
That'd be
the full circle.
beautiful.
One sec. Did you see this I put out earlier? This is from an artist. I think it's a Chelsea fan drawing by Aaron. He put drawing out. And I'm like, Chelsea should be using this as their intro vid because it is a slight knock at Dortmund. It's like, you idiots. Turn down 130 million next year. Get what I mean? So, yeah, it's one of those things. There's a comment here that says Fabrizio worked himself into a position to source directly from the clubs. He is respected. Congrats to Fabrizio. Absolutely. And if you were listening to our show earlier on today, you would have heard Dean Jones say exactly that. And that's very much how it works in Italy. In Italy, there is direct contact with the clubs. It's less so in the Premier League, just with the way the structures are. So, absolutely, listen, Fabrizio Romano is one of the most credible and reliable transfer experts on planet Earth. Never been denied, never will be. My point is, source more than one source for information because what it leads to is yesterday, Matt Law was being abused. But I saw Simon Johnson get like nasty things said to him. Just like when players miss penalties and stuff, it was like vile, wishing cancer on him, and you're a scumbag, you're a nonce. And it was like, hang on a minute, he's literally bang on. He's bang on. And even Fabrizio himself has come out and said these things. Make sure you're smashing that like button, please, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very.
Like you said earlier, Terry, it's happened again. Arsenal took too slow for the deal, and or they had the Martinez deal in their hands, and it slipped out of it again. It looks like Lukaku is going to go out, and it looks like Martinez deal was dead.
I did that privately. I didn't say that publicly.
No.
The deal hasn't.
Vegas rules, Sam. Vegas rules, yeah. Vegas
let
rules.
Let me say this. Yes, Daniel showed his age there. Let me say what I said like publicly. If Arsenal don't get Martinez, I don't believe it's because of Lukaku. I don't believe it's because Martinez says no. I don't believe it's because Inter Milan won't sell. I believe it's because Arsenal are not prepared to pay what's been done. They have had numerous conversations. They've got to a point where the fee has been not agreed to, but the fee has been set. Arsenal, they've got to pay. The player has listened to them. So he has listened to the initial offer from Arsenal, the pitch around where they see him, etc. They now know in return exactly what the player wants. He's willing to join Arsenal, but you've got to pay him and give him what it is that he thinks he's worth as a football player. If Arsenal choose to not do that, it's Arsenal's choice not to sign him. And that's all my view is on this situation. And it's like a lot of people say, they're doing it for PR. I'm like, well, don't go to this level for PR. At the end of the day, he's valued at around 65 million. It's about 65 million pounds, I believe, 70 million pounds to bring him in. The player wants to come to the Premier League. He sees Arsenal as a club where he can grow and develop. Arsenal are in pole position, basically because nobody else is going in for him. It's around £200,000 a week, I read, to bring him to the Premier League. And that's now on Arsenal whether they want to do it. If Arsenal tomorrow offer 65 million pounds and 200 grand a week contract, I believe Martinez becomes an Arsenal player. I think with transfers now, we've got to start cutting through a lot of the nonsense. I said it all summer about Lukaku. I said it all summer about Lukaku. I said it all summer about Haaland. I stand by it with Haaland. If a big enough offer was made, they would have accepted. Maybe it's an offer that no one would make, but it's there. I don't believe for a second, I didn't believe all summer that Lukaku wasn't attainable if you bid the right money. When Varane was first linked to United, what did the majority of FT say? Why would he go there? Like we honestly, we let sometimes our own bias cloud our logic, and that's all I've seen with this. So Arsenal can sign Lautaro Martinez. It's got to an advanced stage. It isn't close to being agreed yet. There's now more thinking, but Arsenal got to a point. Like, how can you? you can't be much more advanced than the asking price being set after negotiations between the clubs. Arsenal pitching to the player what they want him for, the player agreeing to join, of course, if the money's right, him stating that he wants to come to the Premier League and that he sees Arsenal as a great fit for him. That's pretty damn. That isn't like, oh, is Lautaro interested? We'll phone you back tomorrow. Like that, down the line, boys. Like the next you bid and you agree. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and there might be some negotiating in there. Maybe he wants 200 and they say, look, we'll pay you 130 plus 70 in bonuses. Like there's room to maneuver on this now. If Arsenal don't get him, it's on Arsenal for not wanting to spend that going rate. David's here with us now. What are you saying, David?
Lukaku's going to be a Chelsea player, isn't he? It's happening now. So, yeah. But
Why are you sad about
Why are
this?
you like that, David?
Yeah, David, you're getting a more cost striker, bro.
Because of opportunity cost. If you don't know what that is, it's what are you giving up to get the option you are obtaining.
Yeah, but not everything is
what do you guys think is 130 million pounds out of a 28-year-old Lukaku? That's what I want to know, because I don't see how he's going to make up that value.
Listen, I think you have to give him a chance, David. Listen, he hasn't even played a single second for Chelsea.
I've not said anything bad about him as a player. That's not my problem with this. It's I don't see the value in having him for this price.
Lukaku, when Lukaku was performing badly at Man United, he went to Inter Milan for £73 million, and that's after a badly performing season. He's improved. He's won the Golden Boot in Italy. He's just won his team the title. Obviously, he's going to go for a lot more. And plus, with player prices now, we need a striker. There's going to be a tax on top for that. Add 10 million on just because they know that we need him. It's just how it goes.
Yeah. It's not even that. Also, David. But David, you got.
It's euros, isn't it? It's euros.
But David, I do agree with you. I do agree with you, David, in terms of I've said it. I don't believe we did enough to try get Haaland. But we've got to understand it's a lot of money when you add up all the agent fees and what his dad's going to get. But we make the money back. We will make the money back. So that's why I'm disappointed in Chelsea. But there's no one else.
But I want to say to David, David, this was a necessity for Chelsea. If you wanted, like he said, you want Chelsea to win the league. This was a necessity, because if you look at City squad, United squad, you needed this. Okay, Dortmund wouldn't budge. You wouldn't budge for Haaland. Lukaku was out there, possibly the better or level option. Okay, one of the best strikers in the world, peak form, peak production. You're getting one of the best strikers in the world. I believe there's a lot more to offer. A lot more.
Does this make Chelsea favourites for the league title? Yes or no?
Yes, it does.
You honestly going to sit here and tell me?
Well, David, it all depends on Man City. It all depends with the Harry Kane or Jack Grealish deal. That's why. If those two deals don't happen,
one at a time.
This was my point about.
I can throw it back to you. Why doesn't this make you, at the very least, major title contenders?
I don't think it closes the gap. I really don't.
Why?
I think again, Lukaku's an upgrade, but I don't see him being 100. I don't see him making that gap up. I can't see it.
What you've got to look at.
I don't think there's enough there.
I don't know whether you heard me mention it earlier, but Chelsea have created the most chances in the league since Tuchel joined. More than Man City, more than anybody else. All we need now is a striker. We have elite, world-class players in every position. If you put Lukaku in there, he's going to score 25 goals this season. And instantly that puts you in contention to be at least pushing Man City all the way. It depends whether they get Kane, of course. But
again, when you look at Lukaku's numbers, he's not a career, I overperform my expected goals. Like
he scored 64 goals.
He kind of levels out. He levels out about
David,
where he should be.
David, I'm sorry to interject, and I'm glad you're not showing your face tonight because I know you're feeling shame for this nonsense you're
You're going on like we've signed Peter Crouch.
You've sat on this show so many times and said, we need a goal scorer, we need a goal scorer. You're buying one of the best goal scorers in the world, and now you're acting like you're not happy. Like I think this is for show and tell, isn't it? What's wrong with you, brother? Come on.
I'm not. It's not about that. I just
didn't get a Starboy Haaland. Just like we know that you didn't get it from his drama.
No, it's not. Again. I understand. Like Haaland obviously was first choice for me. If you get Haaland, then we are favourites because I just think he's better than Lukaku already. But with this Lukaku deal, I don't think he's worth. Even if you want to say it's 110 million pounds, I'm not sure. Is it 110 plus Marcus Alonso, or is it just 110? I'm not sure.
Plus Marcus Alonso is involved.
It hasn't been declared yet.
It hasn't been confirmed.
Just
If it gets Marcus Alonso off the books, then it's a slightly better deal.
David, I'm stopping you again. Stop saying 120, 130 and leaving out the word euros. 100 million. You're trying to make it sound a lot more expensive. I get what you're doing there. It's subtle, but I see it. It's 100 million.
Okay, it's 100 million pounds. I don't think Lukaku's 100 million pounds. I don't think he's worth it.
No.
All right.
I don't think he's worth it.
David, break it down.
Jesus,
Break it down.
Grealish is going for 100 million.
Guys, break it down.
Wait.
I don't think Grealish is worth 100 million either.
Guys.
Man.
5 seasons he's signing for. Okay. Do you not think he's worth 25 million? A striker of his level is worth 25 million pound a season.
Not for Chelsea.
Sorry, 20 million pound a season. Sorry, 20 million pound. My maths is terrible. 20 million pound a season. If I said to you now, you can sign a Lukaku level striker every summer for 20 million pound, you'd bite my hand off. Spread the cost.
Yeah,
Look at
I
it.
would.
Look at it this way.
I would.
There you go.
Look
But
at it
I
this
know,
way.
but
How much?
I still know, but I don't. But I personally don't think it's worth. I just don't think it's worth that much. I don't think.
There we go.
David.
There
No,
we go.
one question for you, David. One question for you. We can't get Haaland. It doesn't look like it's happening, and you're clearly not happy with Lukaku. So now, what would you like from now on? What would you like? What would you want?
I would have rather we waited, honestly, because I think that especially if City go and get Kane and Grealish, even if we do get Lukaku, we're not winning the league. We aren't winning the league. I'm sorry, we're not. It's not happening.
Oh,
So,
Come on, man.
It's
That's
not
fine, man.
happening.
Nah,
It's
man.
not happening.
David. I remember sitting on here predicting the Euros. England won't get out of the group stages. Do you know what I mean? We've last season proved that there's no such thing as a foregone conclusion. City are favourites, there's no doubt. But of course, you've got a chance of winning the league. Oh, come on, stop being so defeatist. You're the one.
We've literally just won the Champions League.
My German manager, my Kai, my Mason, my this, my that, my J5. Now,
I definitely never said my Mason.
That's even worse then. If you don't back Mason, that's even
everyone
worse.
who's tuned into the terrace tonight, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you, to all of our new subscribers today and over the last few months. It's very, very humbling indeed. We'll do our best over the transfer window to bring you as much information as possible, whether it's from our very own Pete O'Rourke and Sasha and of course Dean Jones. We will. If it's aggregating the news and giving you the chance to have your say, we'll always continue to do that on the Football Terrace, irrespective of what some outside agents have got to say. Make sure you follow so you don't miss any notifications. Our new notification group, the link for that is pinned into the live comment section right now. You'll also find it in the description below. It's Telegram account. Go in there. You won't get spammed with anything other. You won't get spammed at all. You'll just be notified when we're about to go live with a new video on the terrace. Subscribe, turn on the bell notification. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Goodbye.